Hello, Taurus, and welcome to your January 2026 forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Always a pleasure to be here for you. This month, we're going to shake things up a little bit, and most of the format will be the same. We'll start off with channel messages, Celtic Cross, but then the expanded forecast will be a little bit briefer than usual so that I can pull 4 cards for the 4 quarters of the new year. And that'll give you like a little bit of a sneak peek of what's to come. As I mentioned, we're going to start off with channeled messages first. As I was tuning in to Source right before this reading, the first message has to do with judgment and more particularly like preconceived notions about people and opportunities. And then we'll talk about judgment like the tarot card, but sometimes when we push out this sort of like projection of what we expect on the world, a template, if you will, when things don't align to the template, sometimes we don't know what to do with them, or we don't see them, or we're so focused on one spot that we miss a bigger picture. So use January as a chance to reboot your system and remove old filters, old lenses, and this sort of energy of prejudging something or someone before it's had a chance to come into your trajectory or into your energy. So keep an open heart, keep an open mind, and then you can connect with that third eye. You're basically removing the filters so that you can truly see things as they are. Then don't second guess what comes through, because now it's not old expectations, old programs, or preconceived notions that are getting in the way. It's the actual moment of truth that you're seeing in front of you. So release harsh judgments, old programs, and old ways of thinking. Now, the Judgment card in Tarot is quite auspicious. It's the second to last card, and it represents that phase where you surrender and you're like, let's go, let's do this. Rising up from the dead. It's a phoenix rising from the ashes, basically. And it's a moment of reinvention, reimagining. It's a bold moment. And I feel like for you in particular, Taurus, January is going to be a bold month. Let's see what else I picked up on. I took a couple notes here. Oh, the other thing was belief systems may be brought into question. Things that you used to believe, this is again kind of piggybacking on what we just talked about, but an old belief could be released because I think you're going to grow by leaps and bounds, and you'll just realize that you have to kind of adapt and expand in order to thrive in this moment. The final message has to do with downloads. Intuitive downloads, and they can happen at any time of the day. You could be asleep, you could be walking the dog, you could be taking a shower. Pay attention to when you kind of get this light bulb moment and something comes through and you can't quite shake it from your mind. That's one of the many ways that spirit can speak and connect with you. It doesn't have to always be like a literal voice or a literal vision. It could just be this thought that may seemingly arrive out of nowhere, but then it's persistent. You're getting downloads this month. It's important to act upon them because this is helping you plant seeds of intention that will help you thrive in the year ahead. All right, already I can tell there's a lot coming through, so let's not waste any time. Let's shuffle the cards, and like I said, there'll be an extra bonus portion today, so I'll keep the pacing kind of fluid. Let's get started. Apollo just joined us in the background, and he said, "You're not going to get started without me." Let's give him a little pat on the forehead, and then I'll shuffle the cards. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Thank you. All right. Now I feel like we can begin. Take a moment, please, and release. Since we're talking about sort of releasing preconceived notions, now is an important time to do that. Close your eyes. Imagine that there is a circle of light around your body, and in this circle of light, welcome in your angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters. I'll do the same, and let's see what's in store for you. Major change, as we can see in that crowning card. Not a big surprise. Change for the better, based on what I'm seeing here. Couldn't help but speak up just because I was noticing some things. All right, let's get started with your catalyst card here. We have imagination. The card is reversed, and it says, I embrace and nourish the creative aspect of my mind. Some of you may be having some challenges, kind of just being creative, allowing yourself to have some fun, not be so tactical, practical, and serious. Because with this card in reverse, sometimes it's the adult voice in our head that isn't letting the inner child come out. It could also be a parent, an authority figure, or even a spouse that's like, oh, just stick to the plan, do this. I would really encourage you to disregard that and allow your mind to wander a little bit. The center card is the Seven of Cups, so there's a connection here, because I just pulled this recently for the daily, and I mentioned that the Seven of Cups is a card of dreaming. And I really want you to reconnect with your dreams, and we'll go into that more in a moment here. The other thing is, for those of you that are experiencing a high priestess moment, an intuitive awakening, this is saying it's not your imagination. You're starting to connect to an ancient part of yourself, to source energy, and try to allow yourself not to think so in the box about how things should happen. Intuition is very much like creativity. Everybody taps into it in a different way, and everyone expresses it in a different way. And leaning into a creative endeavor, drawing something out on paper, singing, creating something with your hands like pottery, these creative and imaginative explorations are direct connections to source. So if you want to be more intuitive, be more artistic, have some more fun, create room for play in your life, all right? Powerful first message. Let's get straight to the center card because it's connected. As I mentioned in the daily, one of the defining features of the card, besides usually like clouds and cups, is the blue sky, and I'm glad they kept the blue sky on this. So blue skies represent possibilities, endless possibilities. There's nothing that's breaking that illusion of like one color and space. So in this moment in time, just allow the downloads, the creativity, the ideas, the intuition to flow. Maybe sketch it out on paper, write it down, talk to someone, but don't judge it and don't negate it. Allow it to flow. It needs to flow. Cups are about that fluid energy. We still have the clouds on this, so there may be some things that haven't yet fully developed. This is the first day in a moment that we haven't had a lot of fog, but there's still a little bit of fog out there. So LA is in a weird weather zone right now. Some days it's like summer, some days it's like we're in San Francisco and it's foggy. So that fog is a cool metaphor for the creative process, because for those of you that live in a foggy city, you know what I'm talking about, where if someone's coming towards you, you may not recognize who or what it is until it comes really close, because it's just moving shapes like ink blots. So something's coming into focus, but it takes time to germinate, to mature, for your thought process to kind of make sense of it. And sometimes we get scared when we think of something new and exciting, and so we don't allow ourselves to fully see it. Give yourself time. It may take the entirety of January for this sort of ink blot of a thought to come into focus, but it's okay when it does, all right? So don't cut off something before it has a chance to develop. Another analogy, although almost nobody shoots black and white photography anymore, but back in the day, I took some classes in high school and also in college on photography and development and lighting. But when it comes to the developing chemicals, you have to let the photo paper sit in the chemical baths for a certain amount of time, or the paper has to be exposed to light for a certain amount of time for things to be revealed. If you rush the process, the image fades or it doesn't develop correctly. So don't rush the process, the creative process, okay? Finally, this can represent ambiguity or confusion. We even see a little bit of that there. He's like, what's all this about? If you have a question, ask. If someone is being either accidentally or intentionally vague, just pump the brakes and ask, what do you mean by that? Could you be more specific? Or I simply say, that's not clear. I need you to show me another way, okay? This is going to help you from wasting time, because if you don't know what you're doing, you're more apt to make a mistake, and we don't want that. All right? I think we covered everything with the Seven of Cups. Let's move on to the crossing card. We have the Knight of Swords. So this is rapid movement. And what we see rapid movement and change in are three areas, because it's touching three cards. So creative, downloads, ideation, and brainstorming. Emotions are starting to come to the surface. They're bubbling up in a way that they haven't before. And there is some work that's being done on finances, health, and that inner child healing. All of this together can help you facilitate the change that you need, but it can also be a lot. So what we're looking at here is pacing yourself. There are some days where you can sprint and get a lot done. There are other days where you're going to hit the brakes, or you feel like, now I'm moving backwards. It's going to, in the end, add up to progress, but each step along the journey, try not to judge it too much. It's more important on a day-to-day basis to figure out how much am I going to give to this or to this. Be discerning with your time and energy investment, you'll be fine. If you try to sprint the entirety of the month, you'll be exhausted. You're going to need days of rest. There will be days where you have to take a step back. That's part of the program. That's part of the purpose of all of this. So try not to judge that too much. Now, just the card in and of itself portends good things when it comes to communication. In particular, if you want something and you ask for it, it could happen faster than you think. If there's a problem and you call attention to it, it could be fixed quicker than you think. That's actually the key to success here is timely communication. And Knights don't mince a lot of words, or it's not too flowery. So concise and timely. And if you give your feedback, your communication in a concise and timely fashion, you're set up for success. In the deep past, interestingly enough, I just read for another sign, and this was one of their quarterly cards. It was also reversed. So a similar message comes through for you, which is, this is a moment where it's actually okay to put yourself first. This is particularly true for the parents, the teachers, the doctors, the healers, the mentors out there that watch this, that consistently give 110% to all those around you, but like nothing for yourself. It's not sustainable. Some of you are just tired. Some of you are sick and tired. Some of you just need to take the step back from the fog and ask yourself, where am I at now? Is it where I want to be on the sort of trajectory of my life? And what do I need to do to get realigned? So this is more of an internal audit and self-care moment more than anything. So please take care of yourselves. Avoid overdoing anything. This can be overworking, worrying too much. It can also be spending too much. Anything in moderation is fine, but if you go too far, not so good. And also when we're looking, because many of you might be watching in advance of January. So if you're watching this over the holidays, this is saying, pace yourself when it comes to food, drink, and then also on the flip side, exercise, sleep. All of these things in small amounts are fine, but in large amounts can throw you out of sort of like synchronicity, not synchronicity, but harmony. Okay, we have the moon card here in the recent past. You may be starting the month off with this elevated, I'm actually getting like anxious energy. It's not so much sadness or depression. It's just like a lot. And we don't have the little lobster in this. Instead, we have the person kind of beneath the water. So she needs to get her head above water. So I'm just feeling like there's a lot going on. And this is why it's going to be important to meditate and to exercise. And the creative activities that I talked about, art, music, dance, pottery, I don't care what it is that you do, but like do it because it will help you. And when I say I don't care, I'm saying it doesn't matter how you express yourself, just express yourself. It will help you get a handle on things. And through the art, you may be able to make sense of something, particularly for the musicians and poets and illustrators out there. Have you ever noticed when you put it on paper, you're like, oh, that's what this is all about. Okay. For the rest of you could talk it out with someone too. There are some things that just need to come to the surface, okay? The other thing with the moon card, avoid unnecessary competition, particularly with like a brother, sister, or friend, someone close to you that may be at a different part of their life and it's frustrating that you're not there. Don't read too much into it. Don't judge it too much. Things are happening in the time that's right for you, okay? Honesty and integrity are also parts of the moon card. And now is a moment where you really want to lean into being the truest and most authentic version of yourself. And if there are people or environments where that same authenticity is not reciprocated, it's a wake-up call, and it's time to move in a place where there is more of that integrity. In the crowning position, this is what it's all about this month for you, Taurus. We have death and rebirth. And I love that I think it's Chris Ann designed this deck. I love that she decided to put both sides of the coin here. So in order for one door to open, another might need to close. You might need to release something from your life so that you can fully engage and embrace the new opportunity, the new idea, the new that wants to come through. Also, don't fear this sort of shift in your life. We're constantly in a series of little tiny deaths and rebirths. Sometimes we just call them by different things. Graduation, the end of school, the beginning of the next chapter of your life, whether that's, continued education or career or starting a family, like the choices are all yours. Marriage, same thing, end of single life, beginning of partnership. Divorce, an ending of a partnership, a newfound independence. Retirement, now a point of your life where you're not focusing on working for others, but you're deciding how you want to spend your time that you have left. So all of these are little mini moments of death and rebirth. You may be in one of those aforementioned sort of milestones, or you might be in your own perfectly unique moment where it's like, oh, I'm growing, I'm changing in a way that I didn't anticipate, but you did sign up for it. So on a soul level. So don't panic and lean into this knowing that you're going to be okay. There is something bright on the other side of the death card. This can also be reaping the rewards of the hard work that you've done. This is the reaper, but the reaper sometimes reaps rewards and can then take that and make changes in their life. So I see this more as elevation, graduation, release, and moving into something new. You may also be dealing with the literal loss of something or someone, but it will reveal a part of you that you never knew you had. So know that you will be stronger for the experience, even if the experience in and of itself is trying and taxing. And having lost people in my life that I love, I understand that. Several years or several decades on the other side, I'm like, okay, I'm fine and I'm solid on myself right now, but it took a moment too. So if there is a major shift in your life, any of the ones that I just mentioned, make sure that you're giving yourself enough time to catch your breath. There's no right or wrong amount of time to grieve and ease into that adjustment. That being said, there are some good things on the other side of it, like in the environment, we have the Lovers, but there is one more sort of shift that needs to happen here, and it's in the form of the Five of Pentacles. So typically we see two people in the cold outside, like a child and a parent, that aren't able to communicate. Here we've just kind of zoomed in on the child itself. What I like about this version of the card is there's a door, there's a lock, there's a key, and basically it's saying you have what it takes to open that door. It's always been within your reach. Maybe someone in your life just didn't tell you that you had the potential. They might have even said the reverse. You're not smart enough. You're not tall enough. You're not cool enough, whatever. There's a myriad of reasons that they could have used. But the truth of the matter is they weren't imaginative enough to see the potential. They lacked imagination. They couldn't see the potential that you had. So this is your chance to reclaim and unlock a part of yourself that someone tried to shut down or shut off. Maybe even you did it and you thought, I can't, I won't, I'll never. And then I always ask, take those negatives and just make them into questions. Why can't I? When will I? Forget the never. And that's going to liberate you, because then you start to see the open doors that we see on this card, or the openings, and that's going to allow you to basically open the door that we see on the Five of Pentacles. All right, couple of other things with the Five of Pentacles. This can also represent a point of burnout that results in sickness, like a cold, a flu, etc. So if you've overworked yourself, take a break, try to avoid this. But if you do get a cold or sick, take the necessary time off. Don't push yourself beyond the point of no return or diminishing returns, because you're worth more than that. That also is what this whole card is about, which is value and worth. One of your mantras right now can be, I am ready and worthy. I've used this so much, most of you probably can recite it, but I'm ready and worthy to receive love and abundance in the highest forms, because it's here, folks. You can also just say, I'm also like ready, willing, able, worthy, like all of those positive words, jam them together so that you can get it right here, right now. Because when I look at you, you are worthy. So what we have coming through here representing self and ego are Four of Wands, one of the best partnership cards you can get. This often represents marriage, best friends, or a firm foundation in a business partnership. There's a reason to dance and celebrate because this is good. Underneath it, we have a reversed Wheel of Fortune. This is interesting because some of you may be looking for a place where you're loved and appreciated more. You put these two together, and that's what it is. It's not just about the money. In fact, you would be willing perhaps to take a lateral move if you're working, or do something that could cost in a different way in order to get the love and respect. So in this moment in time, know that you are worthy of happiness and success. The Wheel of Fortune in reverse can also represent a pivot in what you're doing for your career or life purpose if you're retired. So now is the time to make sure that it feels fulfilling, that it makes you feel worthy, and that the people around you are supporting you and giving back. It's not just a one-way street in this moment in time. But I mentioned those big pivotal moments. The Wheel of Fortune can be a change in your career or your employment status. This can be marriage. And so those are two big milestones that are actually represented here. In the environment, we have more love, which is fantastic. So whether you're looking for a partnership or you're in love or you're looking to network, the lovers is fantastic. This is what the universe is showing, like you're here and it's there, and this is what it's mirroring back to you. That tells me that you've done the work. Like attracts like. So I've started to read the environment as almost like a test. If it's showing up positive, you're doing a great job. If there's something there that's tricky, it reflects what you need to work on. So the only tricky thing here is these two cards aren't aligned. This card shows a lack, and this one is more than enough. Someone is coming through, possibly a Sagittarius. Look at that archer or the bow and arrow there. But there's someone in your midst that sees more than you see. Don't second guess if there's a wise person around you that is like, gosh, you're amazing. I would love you to be a part of this, or I would love you to be a part of like a relationship with me. There's someone that loves something about you. And I'm hoping that you can embrace the love too. Even if it is just sort of like, wow, I guess it's there because people are saying that they like this quality. I don't see what they see, but maybe I need to see what they see, especially when it's positive and it's being mirrored back at you. You have a great potential right now to solve problems, accomplish a goal or a dream, and pull people into your sort of general energy and goals. So lean into that. You don't have to do this alone, and it feels like you have a lot of support rallying up around you. Unsurprisingly, we have the Seven of Wands here in Hope, Spheres, and Opportunities. This comes on the heels of success. Usually, the person is pushing back, kind of stressed out a little bit, but we have something much different here. She's sort of saying, I'm not going to get overly heated up or bothered by this. I'm going to try to just take a deep breath. Okay, so I like that aspect of it. But with it reversed, there may be more of a need to explicitly either write or speak your boundaries. And you might have to say, no, I can't do that today. Or no, I don't want to do that full stop. Or this isn't the right time. Any way that you want to enforce and articulate your boundaries, now is the time to do that. And I'm getting a sort of like, it's almost like a conflict averse energy. And it isn't conflict to have boundaries. It actually is a sign of power and leadership. So be comfortable, willing, and able to at least put yourself out there and try to say no or to ask for help. I'd like to do this, but I need your help with this, this, and this. Can I count on you? Push it right back. And that's going to help you take a deep breath and not overextend yourself. All right, let's take a look at the outcome card. And it's quite good, folks. We have the Three of Wands. I've been getting this a lot for different signs, and this represents an imminent energy, like right here, right now. What I absolutely love and even prefer about this interpretation is she's not waiting for the ship. She is the ship. So we have a surfer here that is going to be the agent of movement and change. She knows what's possible, and she's going to make it happen. She's not waiting for someone else. So this, for those entrepreneurs out there, this is you, but for everyone else, it's a nudge to raise your hand, to speak up, to meet the ships halfway on the horizon. Let me see if I can find the card while we're talking. I know that sometimes easier said than done, and you're like, but Nicholas, I want it to come to me. It can and it will, but part of the sort of, I guess, power in this is when you don't wait, you're basically showing spirit, like, I believe so much in this that I'm going to go out there too, and I'm going to be the early bird that gets the worm here. So he's waiting for the ships. She is the ship. it's more powerful. This is a little more passive. This is a little more active. It can happen either way, but it can happen faster if you step into the forefront and say, all right, let's do it. So you ready? I hope so. Also, pay attention to what comes through in the early hours of the morning. This reminds me of sunrise. So you may be getting some of your clearest messages. I know I do, actually. Sometimes from like 3 o'clock to 7 o'clock, like before the sun comes up. I'm getting a lot of information and downloads. So I'll periodically wake up, tap it in my phone, go back to sleep. But I pay attention to those downloads. And that's what I talk to you about when I'm saying, all right, I got to read for this sign tomorrow. Give me those downloads in the morning. So you can start to tune into things and see them early as well if you want to. Otherwise, what we're just looking at is a very powerful January. And I would even say, we'll see how the first quarter looks, but this portends good things. At least January is showing up as one like ripe with potential. So embrace, folks. I feel pretty good about where this is taking you. Let's take a moment now and discuss the expanded forecast. I'm just going to look at this from a one card perspective, and then maybe if one of the cards from the spread jumps out, we're not going to drill too deeply in this because I also want to give you the 4 cards for the 4 quarters of the year. We're going to start off, as always, with health, which is your mind, body, and spirit. And for this, we have breathe or breath. Actually, breath in this particular one. It says, stay with your breath. But, of course, that involves breathing. Meditate, exercise, and breathe. These things are going to give you the foundational energy that you need. But what is breath other than bringing oxygen into your lungs, which puts it into your bloodstream, which gives you energy? What is breath also? It is the ability to get rid of. When you exhale, it's almost like exhuming or extracting some of the old stuff that you don't want. And you can just close your eyes like I am right now and think, all right, I'm going to sweep in light and possibilities and intuition. And whatever is holding me back, fears, thoughts, anxieties, I'm going to just really sigh it out. So you can use breath to invigorate yourself and get rid of some of that old emotional baggage that might be clouding up what we saw here with that 7 of Cups, some of your thoughts, okay? Other quick messages around health. I mentioned the potential to burn out. Please don't work so hard that you have that sort of cold flu or burnout feeling. There could also be a wake-up call in your health. I recently had one where you just realize, I have to pay attention to this and deal with this. I like that rebirth is on the other side. It feels like you can turn the corner, but it requires commitment, and Spirit really wants to make sure that you're committed to that. And that's why we have this person showing up early each day saying, I've got this. I'm also looking at the positive. That's really important when it comes to healing. That was one of the ways that I was able to recover from what I went through. I refused to not have a successful outcome. I'm just like, no, we're going to push through this. My body will rebound, and I will do better in the future to make sure that I'm supported and I need to be where I'm at. Emotional health is also really, really important right now. So if you need to talk to someone, talk. Other than that, I'm feeling pretty good about this. One last note, though. If you do start something new in this moment in time, it's going to be very, very important not to overstress yourself. 7 of Wands, if there's a new exercise routine, etc., can represent complete, like overdoing it and like stretching a muscle, breaking a bone or something like that. So pace yourself. Back to the whole pacing energy, okay? Now let's move on from health to wealth. For wealth, we have the hummingbird coming through. The message says joy, but the card is reversed. So Spirit is asking you, are you having fun? Do you feel a sense of joy and fulfillment from what it is that you're doing? So if you're in a job and you're unhappy, and for some of you, you're not getting the pay that you want, it's time to advocate for that because there's a lot of love and there's a lot of support around you. For everybody this month with the 3 of Wands, you have a chance to overcome it. I think it is important, whether you are currently working or you own your own company, to make sure that you're paying yourself enough or you're getting paid enough and that you're not working to that point of diminishing or no returns because you feel like this obligation. Get the support that you need, push back if there are unrealistic deadlines, take care of yourself. For anybody, again, that's working or owns their company, you might also be at a point where you're just ready to pivot and try something brand new. Now, for students, there might also be this desire to kind of like try a different approach. Everybody could be getting this sense of, this isn't what I signed up for. And This is a wake-up call. Retirees, there may be things that you're involved in and you're thinking, why am I doing this? I want something bigger, better, brighter. So listen to your intuition. Do things this month in the area of wealth and career, personal development that allow you to tap into your creativity. And like for students, it can be an elective. For people that are working, it can be something extracurricular, whether it's a sport or a social sphere. Retirees, it can be taking on something new and just doing it for the sake of doing it. But there needs to be room for fun and play and this feeling of a release and an end to the stagnation that's here. Okay? All right, let's move on to love and relationships. For love and relationships, we have the rings of time. This is pretty good overall, actually, because this represents the ability for something to go the distance. And no matter what type of status you're in, the Four of Wands comes through to remind you that you're worthy of what we see here: support, stability, and a firm foundation. Focus on the person or people in your life that return that kind of energy. And if it's not there yet, network. This is a time to meet people because in the environment, we have the Lovers. Quickly talking about the different types of love and relationship statuses. In a current relationship, there could be just a little bit of boredom or familiarity, and it's a matter of seeing one another in a new light and kind of allowing each other to try new things. Not that rigidity that I talked about before can sometimes really set in for existing relationships. So this is saying, hey, why don't we try new things? Or don't always expect me to do this. Sometimes I need you to do this. So talking about that. All relationships are going to be either hindered or helped by the healing that is done with that inner child. There are things from the past that are coming to the forefront now. Feelings of worth, feelings of judgment, and hold space for one another. You don't have to fix each other. Just be there, supportive, and know that you can get through this. If you're looking for love, there could be a Scorpio coming into your life in this period of time. There is definitely a chance to meet somebody new. They may want to rush into commitment. Make sure that you're ready for that. Interestingly enough, we see money coming through thematically. So whether you're in a relationship or looking for love, make sure that you are aware of the financial sort of situation with the partner as well. And if you are going to get married or get involved with someone, that prenuptial is going to be very important. For those that are single and happy, this is a chance to really develop and explore new things. I think that self-worth is like one of the primary themes this month. So if you're single and happy, you can really work on overcoming some of that energy from the past and start to explore new things. Get out of your comfort zone. What's it all about this month? We have a destiny card here, and it says, lean into the storm. The card is reversed. The storm represents the tower. Be the agent of change. And that's what these two cards are. I mean, this is an agent of change, and this is an agent of change. Two different ends of the spectrum. The storm can also be a moment where things are brought to the surface, like I was talking about. Okay, one of the cards just flew off the table, so I have to pick it up. And it was the breathing card, which could help you through this process. This actually reminds me of a lung, because in a lung you have these sort of, it's a alveoli, right? So all of these little blood vessels, capillaries, and little air pockets, and it's like this branching tree. And just like a tree needs to breathe, you need to breathe. You need to sort of like just take it all in for a second and then decide where to move. Be the calm in the storm. Plant your feet until you're ready to move, because if there's a storm that's moving, you have to figure out which direction it's coming in. So take a moment to get your bearings, breathe, and then lean into the change. That's really how I'm going to interpret this and read it. All right, let's go ahead now and take a look at the 4 quarters of this upcoming year and see what 2026 has in store for you. So first, second, third, and fourth quarters. Let's start with January, February, and March. I'm not surprised at all. I mentioned that I was already picking up on the positivity of January with the 3 of Wands. We see that energy pulled through January, February, and March with the Magician energy. So this portion of the year is what you make of it. The Magician is a card that is really rich in creative energy, and I was talking about leaning into things that help you connect with your imagination. So absolutely, that is going to be helpful. The Magician requires focus, however, so the one thing that could be a little bit challenging for you is there might be so much going on. It's like, what do I focus on? So this almost reminds me of like a cyclone or a hurricane. You have to kind of keep your calm, be the eye of the storm, because there's a lot moving around you. But if you're constantly focused and you move with the change, you're always in the calm, right? So that's one thing that I'm picking up on. The other thing here is the Magician is he has 4 aces. So you may be over this period of time planting multiple seeds of intention, 1 per month at least, and it isn't about an immediate feedback or gratification on it. This is saying, okay, I'm doing this now so that in a couple of months I'll see this, and a couple more months I'll see that, okay? So power, potential, and focus. You have to believe in yourself for the Magician to really, really be empowered. A fantastic beginning of the new year. So far, I think one of the best. All right, let's move on to the second quarter, which is April, May, and June. Now we start to see the growth. It might be a little slower than you want, but it's still happening. This Seven of Pentacles does a great job of showing that a lot of the work is happening beneath the surface. And then you can see him kind of impatiently looking at the top of the card saying, why isn't it growing faster? So in this part of the year, April, May, and June, it's important to lean into knowing, being patient, mapping things out, not overextending yourself in work, time, money, or obligations. And if you do that, then the growth is going to be sustainable. And we do see growth, recovery, and development, but a lot of it is happening beneath the surface, okay? All right, as we move into quarter number 3, July, August, and September, we have the Queen of Swords in reverse. She's saying now is the time to take action. So if there's something that you've been dragging your feet on, this is the time to initiate. She is clear, concise, and gets to the point, but sometimes she acts without taking a pulse check or read of the room. So during this period of time, you may be more prepared than other people are, and you can begin a conversation with things like this. Hey, is this a good time to talk? How are you feeling? What's going on? Like, check in with them, get the backstory, and then ease into what it is that you're asking about, needing, etc. A little bit of that goes a long way. You don't have to, I don't want you to fake it either. I want you to legitimately care and use that as a tool to decide, is this the right moment? This can also be a legal battle or trying to revise something to your liking. She's going to speak up and say, hold on a second. She'll circle things. She'll raise her hand. She'll engage with a lawyer if necessary. She's going to advocate for fairness, very, very closely related to like the judgment, or not the judgment card, but the justice card. So fight for what matters. Use your voice. That's the most important thing. If you understand something, say that you like it. If you don't, voice your concern. Your voice is powerful. The other thing here is you have to walk the walk and talk the talk. People will measure your actions and see if they align to your words. So as long as those two things are connected, then you're protected. If they're not, you're going to have to articulate why they're not in alignment. And in that moment, it's pretty much going to be necessary to change or shift. All right. Now let's go to the last quarter of next year. We have King of Pentacles in reverse. We talked a little bit about this at the beginning because, lo and behold, you have the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So it feels like you're getting further along in the process of healing, advocating for your own worth. And in this moment, it feels like what's most important is to say, I want this, or I need this, or I expect this. You're speaking into existence your desires. There could be people around you, however, that are not giving you what you need. This can represent someone that is very, very selfish or very sort of in their own worlds, and they're not doing a good job of empathizing or tuning in. So sometimes you can't get through to a person like this, but what you can do is say no. So heal yourself, speak your wishes, dreams, and expectations out there into existence. And if someone's in a take mode, you've got to pump the brakes and make sure that you stop, because you have to have more than enough for yourself and others. You don't want to extinguish the battery. And that's what this Five of Pentacles is about. Someone just wasn't taught to give back or know when enough is enough. So you might have to be very clear on no. And here's the traditional Seven of Wands. I mentioned that we had the sort of cool, calm, collected one. There's a time and a place for that. But there's also a time and a place for this, which is, I don't think so. All right. So I always like to wrap up with one final card. If you have one more question that I haven't answered yet, now is your time to inquire, and let's see what Spirit has to say. Okay, it came full circle. So I mentioned judgment. Here it is. So there's a lot of things that we can unpack with the judgment card. As a yes or no, it's yes, comma, provided that we're not repeating an old cycle. Judgment is reinvention, it's rebirth. Literally, we see a new version of herself sprouting up. And in the traditional card, there's a bunch of coffins and the souls are rising up. So something is done, a cycle is done. And as long as you're acknowledging that and moving beyond it, yes. But if you're clinging to something from the past, no. This is nuanced in that respect. Now, some good news with the judgment card. If you're just looking for clarity, your question could be anything. This is saying it's okay to experiment, to try something different. You are protected and directed as you move into these new chapters and these new sort of experiences. This is also a card where if you can believe it and get into that magician energy, you can manifest it too. Sometimes this is just a card of acceptance. Because by the time this has happened, the next card is the world. It's already happening. So it's just a matter of releasing fear and saying, okay, I know what I want. I know what I need to do. I'm not afraid anymore. And that's when things get exciting. That's when you step into your power. And that's a beautiful thing. All right, folks, we made it to the end. Thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment below. It helps others find this video, and it means a lot to me as well. You can also, sorry about that, you can also show some support via PayPal or right here on YouTube through super stickers, super chat, and memberships. Give me a follow on social media as well. You can always find me with basically my first and last name on all major platforms, rather. You can go to my website or the main channel page here on YouTube for more information on all of that. And that's everything. We made it to the end today. I think Apollo's in the other room, so we'll let him be. Thank you so much for being the absolute best part of what I do here on YouTube. I've been doing this for over 11 years, and I'm so touched by the fact that many of you have been here for the entirety of that time. So thank you. I appreciate you, and here's to the next 11 years. Take care. Bye-bye.